Breaking news: HMRC crackdown on pensioner savings shocks the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, across the United Kingdom, pensioners are waking up to yet another financial blow. This time, it isn't rising food prices, soaring energy bills, or frozen payments. No, this is different. This is a direct challenge to the financial security of millions of retirees, a sweeping crackdown from HMRC that could strip away benefits from those who did exactly what they were told to do: save responsibly. Yes, you heard correctly. Pensioners with more than £3,000 in savings are now being closely monitored, their accounts scrutinized like never before, their benefits at risk, and their financial independence under threat. The government says it's about fairness, preventing fraud, and protecting the welfare system for those most in need. But critics, charities, campaigners, and pensioners themselves are calling it something else: a stealth cut, a betrayal of trust, and a punishment for doing the right thing. So tonight, we break it all down in full detail. We'll look at the 9 key areas of this HMRC crackdown, from the origins of the £3,000 rule to the way tariff income eats into benefits, to the practical steps pensioners can take right now to protect themselves. Welcome to Pensioners Power, your trusted source for everything you need to know about pensions, retirement planning, and financial wellness. Here, we cover the latest news, expert insights, and essential updates to help you maximize your retirement years. Whether it's understanding pension schemes, making the most of your savings, or staying informed about financial changes, you're in the right place. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update. Now, let's jump right into today's topic. Let's start with the big question: why now? For decades, successive governments have promoted the principle of means testing, the idea that welfare should go to those who need it most, and those with more should receive less. On paper, it makes sense, but here's the problem: it punishes modest savers. Imagine 2 pensioners living side by side in Manchester. Both live on a modest pension income of £180 a week. One of them, Mr. Jones, has £4,000 saved up in a rainy day account. The other, Mrs. Smith, has nothing at all. Under the new enforcement rules, Mr. Jones will lose out on benefit top-ups simply because he was cautious, careful, and prepared for emergencies. Meanwhile, Mrs. Smith, who has no cushion at all, keeps her full entitlement. This is the harsh reality of the new crackdown, and it creates a divide not of income, but of savings behavior. The government defends this as fairness, but to pensioners, it feels like punishment for responsibility. So, what exactly is this £3,000 savings rule? Here's how it works in practice. Under £3,000 in savings, your benefits are unaffected. Between £3,000 and £10,000 benefits start to taper, reduce pound by pound. Over £10,000, HMRC assumes a tariff income, meaning they pretend your savings are generating income, even if they're sitting untouched in a low-interest account. And here's the kicker: 2025 marks the year when enforcement goes digital. For years, these savings thresholds existed, but enforcement was patchy. Pensioners with a few accounts here and there could slip under the radar. But no longer. Thanks to HMRC's powerful new digital cross-checking systems, bank accounts, ISAs, and even benefit claims are linked in real time. That means every pound is now visible. Every ISA, every account, every little pot you thought wouldn't matter. This is why thousands of pensioners who previously never felt the effect of the £3,000 rule are suddenly getting letters, deductions, or outright benefit suspensions in 2025. Now, let's talk about the most controversial part of this crackdown: tariff income. Here's how it works. For every £500 you hold above £10,000 in savings, HMRC assumes you have £1 a week in extra income. That imaginary income is then deducted from your benefits. Sounds small, doesn't it? But let's break it down. £12,000 in savings equals £8 per week. Assumed income equals £416 a year lost. £15,000 in savings equals £20 per week. Assumed income equals £1,040 a year lost. £20,000 in savings equals £40 per week. Assumed income equals a staggering £2,080 a year gone. And remember, these are cuts to benefits pensioners rely on. Housing support, pension credit, council tax relief, the very safety nets that make the difference between living with dignity and living in poverty. And here's the cruel irony. Interest rates on savings accounts are often far lower than the tariff income assumption. So pensioners are losing real money on both ends, low returns on savings and higher cuts to benefits. Let's be crystal clear. The state pension itself is safe. It is not means tested. But here's where the axe falls. Pension credit, the gateway benefit. Lose this, and you also lose extras like free TV licenses, NHS dental care, and warm home discounts. Housing benefit for those renting. This can vanish if savings are deemed too high. Council tax reduction discounts shrink or disappear, raising annual bills by hundreds. Emergency support crisis loans, discretionary grants, and hardship payments can be denied if HMRC decides you have enough. This means pensioners are not just losing one benefit, they risk losing multiple forms of support all at once. Let's bring this down from policy, speak to real life. Take Margaret, a 74-year-old widow in Leeds. She worked in a local shop for 40 years, raised a family, and never earned much. But she was careful. She saved £12,000 over her lifetime, her safety cushion in case of illness or home repairs. Today, that £12,000 is being used against her. HMRC assumes she earns £8 a week from it, even though her bank pays her less than £2 a week in interest. As a result, she loses £416 a year in benefits. That's her heating bill. That's her Christmas with her grandchildren. That's her peace of mind, gone. Stories like Margaret's are now emerging across the UK. Pensioners who thought they were secure are suddenly finding their careful saving is the very reason they're struggling. This is what pensioners are most angry about. For decades, the government preached, save, prepare, be responsible. And yet now, those who followed that advice are penalized, while those who spent freely face no such cuts. This creates not just financial hardship, but deep resentment. Resentment between pensioners who saved and pensioners who didn't. Resentment between generations. Resentment between the elderly and the state. And charities warn, this could backfire badly. Younger generations watching their parents punished for saving may decide, why bother? Why save at all if the government will only claw it back later? Now let's shift to solutions. Here are the practical steps pensioners can take right now to protect themselves. Declare everything honestly. Undeclared savings can trigger backdated deductions or fraud investigations. Check exemptions. Not all savings count. Some compensation payments, life insurance policies, and trust funds may be excluded. Seek expert advice. Charities like Age, UK Citizens Advice, and pensioner forums can help navigate the complex rules. Plan spending wisely. If you're close to the £3,000 or £10,000 threshold, think carefully about when and how to use your savings. Remember, awareness is power. Pensioners who know the rules can avoid the nastiest shocks. Here's the part that should worry everyone. The £3,000 and £10,000 thresholds are not guaranteed to stay fixed. With government budgets under constant pressure, it's possible they could be lowered. Imagine if the £3,000 limit dropped to £2,000. or if tariff income started at £8,000 instead of £10,000. That would drag millions more pensioners into the net overnight. And with an aging population and growing welfare costs, the temptation for future governments to tighten the rules will only increase. At its heart, this controversy raises a moral question. How does Britain value its elderly? On one hand, ministers argue they must be fair to taxpayers, prevent fraud, and manage the national budget. On the other, pensioners feel betrayed, punished, and unfairly targeted, while big corporations and the ultra-rich often escape scrutiny. By 2030, millions more Britons will be over 65. The strain on pensions, benefits, and healthcare will only grow. But cutting support for modest savers is not the solution. It risks pushing more elderly into poverty, creating even higher costs in healthcare, housing, and social services. Thank you for watching Pensioners Power. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you in the next video with more insights on the issues that affect the UK. Take care, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for all the latest updates.